So let's talk about Meesho. For millions of people in India, it's just a huge online store. But what if I told you that the entire e-commerce platform is just a front? What if it's a really clever disguise for something way, way bigger? Let's peel back the layers. First, you have to get your head around the sheer scale we're talking about. Meesho delivers 180 crore. That's 1.8 billion orders every single year. Let that sink in. Right now, 1 out of every 4 packages shipped from any e-commerce site in the entire country comes from Meesho. The volume is just, well, it's staggering. And when you see numbers like that, you have to start asking questions, right? Is Meesho really just another big online store? Or is there a completely different game being played here? One that's hiding in plain sight. To figure that out, you have to look at who Meesho sells to. See, its insane growth comes from tapping into India's mass market, what some people call the bottom of the pyramid. Now, this is a massive customer base for sure, but it comes with its own unique set of challenges. Just look at this reach. We're talking over 21 crore people in India. That's more than 15% of the entire population are using Meesho. And they're not just window shopping either. They're ordering almost every single month. That's deep, consistent engagement on a scale that's hard to even imagine. Okay, but here's the catch. Serving this market is notoriously difficult. Get this, more than 3/4 of all orders are cash on delivery. That leads to crazy high cancellation rates. In fact, for every 100 orders that get placed, fewer than 70 actually make it all the way to a successful delivery. And the real kicker? The average amount of money spent on each order is incredibly low. And this right here is where the story gets really interesting. Faced with all these problems, you'd think the obvious move would be to push people to buy more expensive stuff, right? But Meesho, well, they're doing the exact opposite. They're running a strategy that seems to fly in the face of all e-commerce logic. So here's the absolute key difference. Traditional e-commerce is obsessed with getting you to spend more per order, increasing that average cart value. Meesho, they couldn't care less about that. They are laser focused on just one thing: higher order volume. More orders, more packages, even if each one is worth less. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The data is crystal clear. The average value of a delivered order on Meesho has actually dropped over the last few years, falling from 281 rupees down to just 230. They are literally encouraging smaller and smaller purchases. So, what's the payoff for this totally backwards-sounding strategy? Well, here it is. Absolutely explosive growth. While the value of each order went down, the total number of successful orders shot up at a compounded rate of 38% every single year. The volume is just going through the roof. Which brings us right to the heart of this whole puzzle. Why on earth would a business actively want its customers to spend less money each time they shop? It just doesn't make sense, unless you realize what Meesho's true identity really is. Okay, so here's the big reveal. The strategy isn't about the stuff you're buying. It's about building an unbelievable economy of scale for something else entirely. It's logistics business. The real product here isn't the t-shirt or the phone case. It's the delivery service itself. Here's how they pull it off. Unlike pretty much everyone else, Meesho has a zero commission model. They don't take a cut from their millions of sellers. Instead, sellers only pay for one thing: delivery. This puts all the pressure on a single point. For anyone to make a profit on such cheap items, Meesho has to make shipping dirt cheap. And you know what? They've succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Now, I know this chart looks a bit complex, but just focus on this one key number: the revenue per delivery. You can see it has just plummeted, going from 66 rupees all the way down to less than 53, even as their order volume exploded. That is some serious operational efficiency. To put that number in perspective, Meesho now operates with a nearly 30% cost advantage over delivery, one of the largest, most established logistics companies in the entire country. They're not just competing with the specialists, they're beating them at their own game. So the big question is, how in the world did they do it? The secret sauce is a platform they built called Valmo, and it's the key to building this massive delivery network without owning a single truck, a single warehouse, not one. See, Valmo is what you'd call an asset-light platform. So instead of buying its own fleet of trucks and building warehouses, Meesho did something way smarter. They created a digital marketplace where thousands of independent delivery companies compete and bid against each other to handle different parts of the journey. And just look at how fast this model has taken over. A little while back, Valmo handled a tiny 2% of Meesho shipments. Today, it's over 60% and still climbing. This massive, rapid shift is the real engine behind all those cost savings. So here's how all that competition works in practice. A single package travels through 4 basic stages: pickup, sorting, transport, and then the final delivery to your door. At every single one of those stages, different logistics partners are bidding against each other for the business, which just relentlessly crushes the overall cost. The scale of this network is it's really hard to wrap your head around. It's a perfectly coordinated dance between more than 85,000 delivery agents and over 13,500 different logistics providers, all competing inside this one ecosystem. Meesho isn't a delivery company. It's the conductor of this massive, hyper-efficient orchestra. All right, let's zoom out and put all these pieces together. What does this all mean for the future? Well, what we're witnessing is the creation of an absolute logistics powerhouse built quietly under the cover of a simple e-commerce website. And here's the brilliant strategic position they've built for themselves. By generating this unbelievable volume of tiny orders, Meesho has quietly taken control of 25% of India's entire e-commerce shipping market. That captive volume is their ultimate secret weapon. And this, my friends, brings us to the end game. The play is simple. Once Valmo has been perfected and fine-tuned using Meesho's own business, what's the next logical step? You open it up to everyone. It will become a standalone logistics player, competing in the open market, but born with a massive 25% market share from day one. You know, a quote from the source material we looked at just says it perfectly. Meesho is, fundamentally, a logistics giant masquerading as an e-commerce platform. The online store is just the engine, the fuel that feeds the real business, the delivery network. So we'll leave you with this one final thought. As we all watch the Indian market evolve, could it be that the next great logistics company won't look like a logistics company at all? It might just look like a simple online store, busy delivering billions and billions of little packages.